Send in the red shirts.
Hey everybody, I'm finally back. Yes, I know our content has been a little spotty lately. All I can say is that when I'm not Q Storm, captain of the USS Internet with my crew Big Sexy and Craig J, I moonlight as Michael Jones, video multimedia production company owner, freelancer. And business has been good from January to April, and I can't complain. As a matter of fact, right now I am reporting to you from Las Vegas. I'm attending the National Association of Broadcasters, or NAB. There's a lot of cool video stuff coming out this year, later this year. I know Blackmagic has a new camera coming out that's pretty cheaply priced, so I might be checking into that. But that's not why we're here today. I know some of my fellow video freelancers want to hear more about that. You can go to my YouTube channel and check out the Q Storm Media Group. I'm going to be putting up some videos about NAB on that particular playlist on my YouTube channel. So this is actually a long time coming. I've been meaning to put this out for months, just haven't had the time. But I finished, I actually read the first, what I believe is the first Star Trek Discovery tie-in novel, that being called Desperate Hours. This is the first Star Trek novel I've ever read. I was really excited because I never bothered reading any of the other novels, and there were so many of them going back to the original series characters that I didn't even try to get involved with it. I just figured I could never catch up with all of the material out there. So now with the Star Trek Discovery, with this new novel, I felt like I could get in on the ground floor and start to get into the more tertiary material surrounding Star Trek. So I actually downloaded the audiobook. I prefer audiobooks. I know reading is a dying art, and I'm partially to blame. Hey, I feel like I did all my reading in high school and college. But since I do a lot of driving and I'm always going up and down from New Jersey to DC to New York for work, I love audiobooks. So I downloaded the audiobook for this one. The book is written by David Mack. The audiobook is read by Susan Eisenberg, and I'm going to be brutally honest here. Her performance narrating the novel, I believe, was subpar. And I'm curious to hear from some of you who read the novel after you see my review, if you think that maybe reading the novel, my review would have been a little different. I personally think that the way she reads it was a detriment to the enjoyment of the novel. She reads it as though she's talking to third graders, and she has a very sing-song quality to her voice, and it was not a pleasant experience. The story itself is somewhat of an interesting story. However, I feel like the narrative gets bogged down in a lot of minutia. Now, I know minutia is something that us Star Trek fans like, and maybe it works on a visual platform, but I felt like in the book it was too many details. It got way too deep into the weeds of things that I really felt were inconsequential to moving the plot along. One of the things that this novel does that I found interesting was that it kind of, and I don't know if this is considered canon or not. I have no evidence that it's not canon, but one thing it does is that it bridges even further the link between Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek the original series. Now, for all of you who saw the finale for Star Trek Discovery, clearly that is the most obvious link that these two universes exist together. That this is the Prime universe, not the Kelvin universe, if you will. But prior to seeing that finale, I was excited as I was reading this book that Mr. Spock plays a pivotal role in the novel. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a scene where Spock beams on to the Shenzhou, and he discovers that the Shenzhou has some more advanced capability than the Enterprise. I recall he notices that the Shenzhou is equipped with a ready room, whereas the Enterprise is not. I think there's also a mention made of how more efficient the transporters are on the Shenzhou. So that gave me hope that when we saw, I don't know, maybe it was mid-season, we saw a rudimentary holodeck on the Shinjo, and a lot of us, myself a little bit included, we were like, oh no, that shouldn't happen. But the novel, if it is canon, kind of supports the fact that the Shinjo has technology, or is equipped with certain things that the Enterprise is not. It doesn't make a lot of sense, since I believe the Enterprise is the flagship of the fleet, even back in the original series. But that heartened me a little bit, that okay, we have proof that that they're trying to, the material is trying to weave the two together, the two universes together, the original series and Discovery, and they're trying to perhaps explain how the Shinjo is more advanced. Now, we in the real world know it's because we're not going to buy the technology that we saw in the 60s when they were producing the original series. So I like the fact that they're trying to explain in this novel, or maybe they're trying to create some sort of explanation as to why the Shinjo visually seems more advanced, has a holodeck, has all this other stuff, and why we didn't see that in the Enterprise during the original series. The basic plot of the novel, and I'm not giving anything away here, is that there is a colony on a planet called Sursa 3, and it's a mining colony, I believe, and they unearth a dangerous weapon that looks like a drone, I believe, and it proceeds to come up out of the ground, and it basically presents a threat to the miners on the planet. And I will say one of the best scenes, or best passages in the novel, is where Spock and Burnham have to team up to enter this, I want to call it this weapon, or this ship. It's actually an alien ship. They have to enter it and try to disable it, and they go through a series of tests that are put forth by the ship. And that was the most compelling part of the novel. They jumped back and forth between Spock and Burnham's story, and there is a lot of interaction between, as well, Christopher Pike and Captain Georgiou. So I love that dynamic as well. And again, that ties back into the fact that they are weaving what we know of the original series and what we've seen thus far of Star Trek Discovery. As I said before, this is the first Star Trek novel I've ever read. I'd love to hear from you out there who are more enthusiastic about reading the novels. You've read all of the original series, you've kind of read into all of the TNG, whatever, anything Star Trek. And if you've read this one, let me know if this is pretty much the same style as most of those other novels are written. As I said, I thought it got a little pedantic, a little bit verbose. We love all the techno babble of Star Trek, but I think this got a little too deep into it. Could have used a little bit more action, namely like the scenes I cited about that involved Spock and Burnham. Obviously, if you're a Trek fan, I'm not going to dissuade you from reading this novel. I think you should, and you can judge for yourself. It just didn't grab me, and I just started reading there's a new novel that just came out. I believe it came out beginning of the year, called Drastic Measures, and this one looks like it centers on Captain Lorca. So given the events of the finale, I don't know how relevant the novel is. I feel like Captain Lorca's arc has been woven already. We've seen a resolution there. So to go back to having him lead a novel or lead a story seems a little bit moot. But I liked Lorca as a character, so I'm all in. I will say, I can't remember who wrote the new one, but it's starting off already with that type of little bit too deep in the weeds with minutia, and I'm ready for it to kind of start chugging along and start picking up. But I'm going to give it a go. But yeah, all right, so Desperate Hours, check it out. If you like it, please let me know. Let me know if it's typical for the average Star Trek novel, even those featuring Kirk. Curious if the Kirk novels have more action than this. As always, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your opinion, if you agree with me, if you disagree. In any case, leave your comments below. All right, until next time, take care.